Hello, everyone. The World VFX Day talks continue, and I'm very pleased to welcome our next guests. To start, Tom, I'll come to you first. You're in my top left. Tom Fonvillars from the Yard VFX. You are head of CG, and you are currently in the south of France.
That's
Hi,
correct.
Tom.
Hello.
And Xuan Prada, you are labs lead at Important Looking Pirates, and you are currently in Spain.
Hello. Yes, thanks for inviting us.
You're welcome. And last but not least, Theo Jones, you are VFX supervisor at Framestore, and you are coming to us from Devon. Welcome.
That's correct. Yeah. Hi, everyone.
Sorry for being so cheesy. And I'm in London. Thank you all for joining. We are talking today about creative tech. It's been a running theme of our talks so far today. Obviously, there's a lot out there. I mean, there always has been. Our industry is at the forefront of technology and innovation. So no doubt part of your role is to really learn all of these new tools and keep yourselves updated. But we'll kick straight into the questions, and I'd love to learn more about your roles and any new tools or tech that you're using at the moment. Tom, could we come to you first?
Yeah, sure. Well, thank you for sure for having us. So yeah, I'm head of CG at the Yard VFX. So my role encompasses different part of production process, but also the structure of the studio in terms of crafting the pictures that we make. So it's tools, it's process, production process, and I work with all the CG departments trying to get something as unified as possible in terms of workflow. So obviously, technology is a big part of what we do. It's not all of it, but it has a big part in it. So for me, like new tech or new tools, it's really about experimenting first. So first we need to find something that's going to improve our workflows, and is it interesting? Can we test it? If it is, then there is a lot of work for implementing. Depending on the scale of the studio, it can take several weeks, months, years. I've seen it. So we need to remain agile. So it's not as just, oh, this is a cool feature, let's just use it in production. It's a bit more complex. And that's where I kind of filter between what's really worth the extra development and even, getting the artists on board and teaching and all that. Versus just pushing everything new in production. That's not really possible. But what we use at the yard today, obviously, in the last 2 years, we have really started a big transition to our USD, which is kind of becoming it is a new standard for scene descriptions. And then there is obviously machine learning that many studio use as well. We have our own R&D department, so we train models for just getting more efficient with some process. So that's pretty much that for the new stuff. Then it's obviously new tools, new DCCs, new versions. So technology watch to make sure all the features that we have are still up to date in terms of the version of the software we use, and we need to check if we want an update. We need to make sure it's compatible with our current pipeline. We can be quite a lot of dependencies there, so just need to be careful when we update. It's not an easy step forward to just move up to the next version. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Sorry for us at the moment, but we're still on the watch for new tools, and it's just very motivating to see how the industry has grown, and like a lot of people are innovating, and there is a lot more communication about it, a lot of sharing, knowledge sharing as well. It's really, really cool.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Sounds busy. Juan, could we come to you first next?
Yeah, sure. So I'm currently leading ILP Labs, which is a new department that we started just a few months ago, really. I believe sometime around summer or after summer. And I guess what is special about this department is that we are detached from production. So, we have the time and the resources to look into all the things that we always want to look into, but we never have the time because we're busy, fully booked working on shows. So the idea or the goal is to explore everything that is out there that could potentially be beneficial for the visual effects company without the constraints of being, booked to work on shows. That's pretty much the idea. And again, it's only been like a few months, but we have been looking into a lot of technology, like new technology, emerging technology. But not only that, I mean, one of the things that we're trying to do is, follow the path of emerging technology and see the applications for that in common visual effects tasks. But at the same time, we also want to look into existing technology, current technology, even old technology that we are already using, but see if we can use it differently. Because, I have the feeling that in visual effects, sometimes we do things in a particular way just because that's the way we do it. And, we want to think a little bit outside of the box as well and see if we can do things slightly different or a lot differently in order to do the same things, but differently, essentially. And so, it's those two paths, like new technologies, existing technology, and trying to bridge that into potentially different ways of doing things.
Yeah, nice. Sounds fun. Like you can experiment with lots of different tools at your leisure. Awesome. And Theo, can we come to you?
Yeah, so my role I come from quite a technical background, even though I'm a visual effects supervisor. And so I've always kind of operated on projects that kind of have one foot in technology and one foot in visual effects. And over the years, I've looked a lot at kind of emerging technologies and how they can best be used in visual effects. And for a long period, that was kind of real-time technologies in that area. Obviously, no surprise to anyone that over the last couple of years, it's been AI and machine learning. And I work a lot with our machine learning technology group to look for opportunities where those emerging technologies can get used across visual effects, and opportunities where they can both improve our existing workflows and accelerate those and be used as optimization techniques, but then also looking for newer opportunities where they might change workflows, particularly on the kind of generative AI side of things, and how they might lead to new opportunities in shooting and pre-production and in post-production. And then alongside that, Framestore, we've been deploying this year a number of quite major technology projects on the more traditional side of the visual effects workflows. So things like moving our lighting pipeline over to being more USD native, and making some interesting updates to Freak, which is our proprietary renderer that we use to render all of our movie and episodic work. And we've introduced some machine learning into that, into some denoising processes, which has led to great optimizations. And then also our Framestore anatomy toolkit. Obviously, creatures is a big part of what we do at Framestore. We do everything, but that's kind of one thing we're known for. And so we're always looking at ways to improve our creature technology. And these updates to the Framestore anatomy toolkit, which is a simulation framework that allows us to better simulate skeleton, muscle, skin, fascia more efficiently, reuse setups more efficiently, and also just led to a kind of step change in quality as well. So kind of across the board, we've got a lot of exciting technology things going.
Nice. And the next question is on efficiencies. It sounds like from other conversations as well, the main benefit of these tools and AI is that it is driving efficiencies and speed and perhaps taking away some of the more manual tasks that are quite lengthy, etc. Has that been your experience so far? How has it helped your role in your department with just being more efficient overall so far? Tom, could we come back to you?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, that's the main thing we think about when, like, for example, machine learning, AI, and all that. But it's not the only thing. I think for me, it can also serve not only just repetitive tasks and like just directly the craft of the image, it's also the organization process, which is really important. The financing, the communication, the coordination, uh, these parts are really important as well in terms of like being efficient. And like, for example, like documentation, wikis, stuff like that. Like AI in there is great because that's really useful to be able to ask questions to an agent and get like really like nice condensed resume of answers without having to navigate, but you still have the navigation if you want to get into it. So it's another aspect. Like we have a lot of tasks that are a bit painful to like execute, and for sure we can find tools to automate that. Automation has always been like a target when you scale up and you need to minimize these tasks, like in terms of human time. But it applies to many other aspects as well: tracking task, predictions, render times, a lot of that which is not actually stuff that we do as artists or supervisors. I mean, a bit more as supervisors, but it's really going to help in all aspects of the production process. And there's a lot of communication on the actual tools to make the pictures. But actually, I think the strength of these new tools is a bit like on the back end as well, not only on the quality of what comes out of it. That's really important. But that's thanks to all the organization, all the teams, and all the people working in the back end. And that exposure, I think they deserve it. And getting the tool to help them with the new tech and a lot of the new AI tools that are coming today more accessible. I think that's a great improvement for the industry.
Yeah, nice. And Juan, same question to you, but also interested to see how many of these tools you're experimenting with. Maybe a rough percentage of those that you actually see as being beneficial to the industry.
Sure. So it's a little bit hard to measure the efficiency of these things because we haven't deployed them yet to a full extent. We're not really using them widely on all the shows. But there are a couple of shows where we're actually using some of these tools and new workflows that we have developed, and we've seen like it's helping a lot. It's helping a lot to get to to the initial brief to the final shot really. And again, we have only used a small percentage of what we're building, but yeah, we're seeing a lot of benefits in that sense. In 2026, we're expecting to do like a couple of big shows where hopefully we're going to introduce way more of these workflows, and that will give us a better picture and see if it actually works or not. What we've done so far is battle test everything as much as possible. So we've done very thorough tests where we are, again, because we're outside of the main production pipeline, we are kind of creating our own little shows, if you will, or shots, kind of emulating what we usually do in production. And we've seen a lot of benefits. And only when we do that, only when we are 100% sure that something is working fully, we move it into production, right? But still it's an artificial environment, so we really need to push it and test it for real on shows. And again, the couple of shows where we use these, we see a lot of benefits. And here I'm not really talking that much about automation, really, although we've seen a little bit of that as well, especially in prep tasks, like roto and match moving and clean plating and all these things. We've seen we are using a little bit of automation in there, and yeah, we can see a lot of benefits. But we're also seeing a lot of benefits on just changing a little bit how we do things and thinking a little bit outside of the box, and just using these technologies for things that originally we never thought that we could use them for. And just to give you some examples, like we've been looking like quite deeply into Gaussian splatting, for example, and I know a lot of people have been looking into that. and we managed to create a pretty robust pipeline when it comes to using Gaussian splatting for different situations, and from very diverse things like a crowd simulation and character pipeline and plates and virtual environments using Gaussian splatting, for example, right? So, and in those cases, we can see like a huge benefit when it comes to, especially in saving time to go from an initial idea to something more tangible, something that we can use in a 3D software already. And yeah, we are speeding things up quite a lot by using some of these processes.
Nice. Thank you. And Theo, coming to you with the same question, but also interested to hear how it's perhaps changed or molded your relationship with clients as well. Are they coming to you with any tools that they want to use?
Yeah, I mean, at Framestore, we service a huge breadth of clients because we've got obviously the film and episodic clients, we've got our immersive division, we've got our labs division, we've got commercials, and really have a huge spectrum of clients with a huge spectrum of kind of appetites for AI, and some are very cautious and really don't want. When I say AI, I'm talking about the generative AI, not necessarily machine learning, which are less kind of high profile and high risk area. But I think in the generative AI, some clients are very keen on adopting it, particularly in the advertising divisions. They actually come to us and say, we want to do a project using these tools. Whereas on the film and episodic side, I often have the opposite, where they're like, really, we don't need to go near these. And so we have to kind of cater to both sides. We are finding on the generative AI side that we are using it increasingly in the advertising side. And on the film and episodic side, we see great opportunities in visual development in the early stages, where really what you want to do is get ideas out there quickly, and you're not so obsessed with controlling every pixel, because obviously the generative AI side, the big problem with it is control. I mean, setting aside the data problem is a question for a second, but in terms of the actual tooling and how to use it, the real challenge is getting the right control. And I say something like visual development, where it really is about rapid iteration of ideation, then we are seeing real benefits to that. When it comes to all this final pixel work, we're seeing less at the moment, although we're starting to see that on the advertising side more. So it really is a kind of wide spectrum. And then on the kind of machine learning optimization side, we are seeing things around, paint and roto and those kind of prep departments, where it is really starting to accelerate our ability to get to a first version faster. And that helps client relations generally. If obviously if we could get to a first version that they like, if we can get to that quicker, then that is a benefit. So kind of a wide range of ways in which it's affecting workflows and the way we deal with clients.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you. Good insights there. Tom or Juan, do you have anything to add from the client perspective?
I'm not directly exposed to clients in my role, but from what I hear, it's like, as Theo says, it's really different from one studio to another. Some clients really want to reduce cost and think sometimes it might just be easier to use generative AI. Some other just love the human-made kind of branding behind what we do. So I think for me, from my standpoint, it's a bit early to say that it's a game changer in that aspect. We are still, at least at the Yard, trying to use these new tools to allow artists to spend more time doing the artist part and less time doing the rest and the overhead that's around it. And that's our focus. But for sure, some clients sometimes have some expectation or questions. I think we're in a bit of a kind of transition and questioning era. So, yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
So ILP, we only do film and episodic at the moment, and as Theo says, we in that world we're a little bit more conservative when it comes to use AI, both coming from us and also coming from clients, right? There are some kind of strict guidelines about what we can and cannot do when it comes to AI, for both, I guess, legal and ethical matters, but But something that I found quite interesting coming from clients is that they want to know, and sometimes they don't really understand. But what I like is like they call us and they say, "Hey, we heard about this tech or these new tools or whatever. Can we book a call for a couple of hours, and you can perhaps explain everything to us, or at least everything that you might know at this point, and see if this is actually something that we can or we cannot use, and or maybe we can play with it for a couple of weeks and explore the limitations and see if it's actually something worth exploring further." And that I found pretty interesting. Like they are reaching us to us and see, just to see, just to start a conversation and see if this is actually something that we are willing to look into or not.
Yeah, nice, interesting. Thank you. And a couple of you have mentioned how it's helping with things like rotoscope and match move, etc. Thinking back to how you started out in the industry, sorry, it's a bit of a left field question, but it's very prevalent right now, especially with so many graduates graduating this year and thinking about their first role. Do you think that it's going to be a bit more difficult to get those starting roles now, or is it a fact of just learning these new tools to kind of just stay ahead of the game, really? Theo, could we come to you on that?
Yeah, I mean, I do think that we're definitely kind of deploying these tools as an artist in the loop always, so that there are still and will continue to be roles. However, I do think it is probably something where the number of those entry level roles may reduce slightly, and I think as a company we have to be more deliberate, or we have to continue being deliberate. We already are quite about making sure we're offering internships and training programs and all those kind of onboarding things that previously you might have taken an entry level job and you just gone on the job training. We do have internship programs and training programs that we already run, but I think the importance of those is going to increase over time, and that we need to be very kind of aware of that and making sure that we are giving the right opportunities to junior artists and giving them the opportunity to not just train on the job, but also offer them training opportunities that are kind of hard to block it off by your companies.
Yeah, no, thank you. Tom, what was your first role, and could any new tools today have helped with any of your responsibilities then?
Well, I was a 3D generalist for a great commercial company called Mainframe. It was definitely very manual for a lot of it. I think it's more like the evolution of how all the tools, the digital content creation softwares are now way easier to manipulate and to get quicker results, because there are like decades of experience of people using them and improving them in that aspect. So it's more like continuous improvement. For sure, it would be faster today, but I'm not sure I would get as deep of an understanding of how it works behind. And I'm sure my peers from one or two generations before me would say the same about me, when that's just how things works. So yeah, could have helped, but I don't think that's a massive game changer, and you might lose something into it. So I think I really agree with what Theo says. It's like you need to keep training and getting junior on board, getting internship. We do the same as well. And maybe we'll have less really specialized junior artists in those like kind of painful tasks, and they get a bit more of a wider scope of things they can do when they start as a junior, and maybe that's for the best, for them. But for sure, as time goes and we see a lot of those tasks getting taken over by some machines to some extent, it will reduce the need for really specialized, like I think, artists. So it's an advice actually I give to students to try to widen a bit their perspective when they are trying to specialize in something. Just keep learning the rest too.
Yep, good advice. Thank you. And Juan, anything to add?
Just a little bit more of the same, really. But I have the feeling that in a world where we have more AI tools, I think it's very important for people to have very strong background when it comes to, either artistic knowledge or technical knowledge or whatever. But I think it's even more important now to have that deep knowledge about those things, because that's gonna make you a little bit different somehow, right? Like if everyone is doing things with AI, you might just stand out if you do things differently. So I think it's more important than ever, really. And even if you use those AI tools, you still need to understand it, the fundamentals of what you're doing. So I think for students, is they should just keep doing what they're doing. I think obviously they should look into these tools as well, because some of them are useful, some of them are not. But they need to understand, what they're doing basically. So the more they know, the better. And AI is just another thing that they would have to learn, but that doesn't mean they can skip, whatever they used to learn before. Like that's still it's still the same, right? We're still learning painting and sculpting, even though we are not using physical materials anymore. We're working in a digital world, so that's all important, I would say. And then when it comes to students getting into the industry, well, maybe they don't have to do prep tasks anymore, and maybe that's just fine, right? At ILP, we all the compositors that we're getting as interns, they just go straight into the compositing tasks. They don't do any prep work, and 6 months later they are already doing amazing work, and maybe it's even a better experience for them, because to be honest, no one really likes to do prep work, right? Even though it's extremely important and necessary for everything that we do later. But if at some point that goes away, maybe that's for the better. I don't know, but it's not the case just yet.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. So a couple of you mentioned USD as well, and I was wondering, I know a lot of studios will have proprietary tools and things like that, you wouldn't necessarily want to share, but is there a call for more standardization across our industry? And if so, in what areas? What would be most helpful? Theo, could we come to you first?
Yeah, I mean, I think there has been a great push over the last 5 years or so for more standardization and more. We've certainly made a big push at Framestore to retire some of our proprietary formats and technologies and adhere more to open formats, USD being a great example, but there's others as well. And I think it's a benefit for the whole industry if we're on those standards. Everyone's got their own slight flavor of them, or way of using them, or way of pipelining them. But I think ultimately it means that we're supporting less proprietary technology, and we're able to exchange information and data more seamlessly between different companies, and even within our company. We kind of have the data at the center model, which is universal, and then the DCCs and the various packages are plugging into that. So I think there's been a big push for us over the last 5 or 6 years, and I think we've seen some real benefits to that in terms of allowing our technology organization to focus more on bringing the artist quality of life and actually improving the artist experience, and developing more interesting, exciting tools, and focusing less on supporting large kind of custom data formats and all those types of things. So I think it's been a huge benefit to us across the industry.
Nice, thank you. And Tom?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much the same. We transitioned about 2 years ago, and we're still building on top of that transition, getting new features regarding USD. I think we have to, at some point, trying to get a more universal language between us, so we can exchange data. It's easier, and in the end, like if a vendor is really locking everything, doesn't really help himself. So it's it's I think it's a good thing, especially for us as a small studio, that sometimes we get to share asset shots. It makes the whole process easier. Delivery becomes easier as well in terms of packaging. It's always the same process, and you don't have to convert your in-house data to some more generic stuff. So it just reduces overhead in general. So we keep pushing for that. It's just depending on the size. For us, we're small, so obviously it could be done pretty quickly for most of it, but it's never ending as well because the tech keeps evolving. It's an ongoing challenge. That's what I mean. Like, it's not just you switch the button and that's done. It keeps moving all the time, as the industry always has been. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Juan?
Kind of the same thing. Like I believe this is a very, very important topic actually. And we are a global industry really, and we all work for the same clients, and sometimes you have like 20 VFX houses working on the same show, and we all have to share data. So we need to make that process a little bit easier and smoother for everyone. But yeah, we have improved quite a lot. I mean, everyone has improved quite a lot, right? Like these days, when you get some assets from another vendor, sometimes it's just plug and play. It works very well. It's not always the case, but it has. I mean, over the last 10 years, we've seen like dramatic changes in this way for good. So yeah, it's extremely important. And also for us at ILP, now we live under the umbrella of Dream Machine. So we have, in the family, other great visual effects companies. And we are actually trying to do this for ourselves as well, right? Not just inside of ILP, but with everyone within the Dream Machine family. We are kind of, setting some standards so we can divide the work between ourselves as well. And specifically about ILP, we, the last 4 years especially, we've been putting a lot of efforts on this matter because we grew up quite a lot in the last 5 years or so, and with people in 3 different offices and people scattered from all over the world really. So yeah, we need to make our life a little bit easier, and standardization is definitely one way to go.
Yeah, nice. 2 more questions and I'll let you go. But just wondering about other challenges in an ideal world, if we were allowed to dream up any new tech or tools that can help with our roles. Are there any challenges that spring to mind that you would love new tech to help with? Open it to the floor. Anyone wants to take that?
Pretty tough and wide one.
Yeah, so many challenges.
I mean, for me, it's all about organization and projection. So we're already trying to push for the use of these new tools for that to help us at the yard. But for sure, it's something we could keep expanding, and it will help us because, again, as a smaller studio, we have like really big variations in terms of project at the same time, or sometimes just one. It's really good to be able to be agile enough to switch workflows and to use a new tool really quickly, really efficiently, because we need it for that show, and we didn't anticipate that. Like 3 weeks ago, we didn't know that show was going to be awarded, so it can happen. And I think that's where I would like these new technologies to help us to get better projections in terms of crewing, in terms of financing, etc. So yeah, that's the only thing I can think of right now. I'm sure there are plenty of other big challenges visually as well. I'm sure I can help, but that's
yeah.
I mean, I think you make a great point, Tom, that actually is sometimes the less glamorous side of what we do, which is the organizational side. I mean, we've been very focused this last year or so on delivering some big image-based technology projects, but actually I think for us one of the big focuses of next year is actually going to be production platform and how we better deliver efficiencies across, the less glamorous side of things, such as crewing globally, and finances and projections and planning and things, because that, like I say, may not be the most glamorous side of it, but actually is hugely helpful in terms of helping companies be efficient and also improving people's quality of life, because you're able to plan a little bit better and project a little bit better, and make sure that you smooth out some of the peaks and the troughs. So I think some of that stuff is hugely important. It doesn't always get talked about, but I think it is really important and can be really kind of transformative in enabling you to produce better images, because you're being more efficient about the ways you're going about it.
Yeah, nice. And less spreadsheets.
Exactly.
Production. Juan, anything to add?
Yeah, I completely agree. Like it seems like crewing and assigning resources to shows and all of that seems to be one of the biggest struggles in any visual effects house. So yeah, anything that we can do in that sense would be very much appreciated for sure. But I would also like to see, and I think we're seeing this already, but it can be improved quite a lot, is or tools that we can use in pre-production stage, I would say, or even before that. I guess I'm talking about communication tools that can help us to understand better what the vision of our clients is, and also to help our clients understand our own vision as well, a little bit faster and a little bit more efficiently. And things like real-time technology has helped to do some of these, like having like better play blasts or previews, or just having directors even driving these things by themselves, and anything that helps to reduce communication friction. I think that would be very useful.
Definitely. Yeah, thank you. And last question. Our industry has been through a particularly tough period. I just wanted to end on this. What are your hopes for the future of our industry? Theo, could we start with you?
Yeah, I mean, I hope that we've kind of seen the peak of the AI kind of hype curve, and that we're starting to see a leveling off now, and people beginning to realize that although these tools are incredibly exciting, incredibly powerful, they're not the final solution to all of these things, and that the real power of those tools comes when they're put into the hands of really good artists, and the artists who understand what makes a great image and how to break an image down and into its constituent components and build it back up again. And that those skills are still very much at the heart of taking these exciting technologies and making them actually usable. And I think that the visual effects industry has absorbed and adapted numerous technologies over the period that we've kind of been doing what we've been doing. And I think will be another one of those. It certainly promises to be one of the more disruptive ones, but I think the principles of what we do, which is we're always looking for efficiency gains, we're always looking for the best ways of doing things, and we're always putting talented artists at the heart of that process. And I think that will continue over the coming years, and those key principles will continue to be true. And I think that's, I hope and I think that people are beginning to realise that we're starting to see a little bit more of a measured kind of approach to AI and its adoption across the industry.
Yeah, the frenzy will die down. Thank you. Tom?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. All we use are tools. AI is just one more. And what matters is the people using them and what we do with it. So I think I really hope we keep that focus, like human craft, and that it stays at the heart of what we do and driven by people, visions, cinematographic vision, and projects and challenges to keep pushing these boundaries of like visual narration. And it's really important, because I think for most of us it's what kind of got us into it in the first place. It's somehow passion first, like a really big appetite for creating pictures and telling stories with them. And something I see more and more, which I'm really glad about, is the use of visual effects for documentaries, actually, to also make people learn about things. Not only, you know, I mean, of course, you're going to learn things watching good movies, but documentaries is really the main purpose is to either educate or inform, and I think it's great to see more of this kind of media using VFX and big budget. So I really hope the industry is going to keep going that direction.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, Theo, Framestore have just finished Prehistoric Planet, I believe.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
A lot of VFX in that.
Yes, yeah, that was a huge project for us. It's been it's great to see it out there actually, because we actually finished work on it 9 months or a year ago. So it's been a little bit delayed coming out, but it's great to see it out there now, because I think the team did an incredible job of bringing those creatures to life, and I think it's some of the best creature work we've done. So it's great that it's out there now and people are able to enjoy it.
Yeah,
and it's really refreshing for the team to work on shots that are just so naturalistic, and it's just trying to make something look as though it's really there and doing something very natural. It's quite a different way of working, and I think everyone will find it really satisfying.
Yeah, nice. Thank you. And Juan, take us to the finish. Your hopes for the future?
Yeah. So I guess what I'm really hoping for is a little bit of stability in the industry. Like, you know, we've had a few rough years with, you know, starting with COVID and Hollywood strikes and whatnot. It seems like it's going back to normal somehow, but what is normal anymore? I don't know. So it seems like we have a new normal, right? And I mean, this is just my impression, but I believe that the days where we had like 1,000 people working on a show are long gone. There are some exceptions, of course, but I think we're going to have to adapt to something different. And I'm not talking necessarily about AI, although AI might play a small or big part on this new normal. But I think we need to look into how we work slightly different and just try different things so we can make this industry feasible. I mean, it feels like there are still great potential to do amazing work, but we might just need to adapt a little bit and see how we deal with, you know, whatever comes in the future.
Yes, that's one thing our industry is. It's very resilient, but I'm hoping that through days like today and the knowledge sharing and communication and creating new relationships within the industry, it's all going to lead to bigger and better things for the strength of our industry. So I'm really grateful to you all for joining us today for World VFX Day 2025, and I'll let you get back to your jobs. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye.